Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 283 of Dial the Gate, the Stargate Oral History Project. My name is David Reed. Thank you for being with us in this episode. I have Kelly Vint with me today, who's young Catherine Langford in the Stargate SG1. SG1 wasn't even a thing yet. Kelly, what am I saying? How are you?
The original, the OG.
Right, absolutely. This is a pleasure to have you. I have a piece of your history here in my background, which I want to say HollywoodCollectibles.com with a hyphen in the middle of it. They now supply these. It's a replica. And this is great to have you. 30 years coming up this coming I think it's going to be the 28th. I think it's going to be in 8 days from now. What do you think about that? What is that? Can you process that?
As you're saying it, I'm getting chills all over my body. And I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
In 8 days, it's going to be 30 years? How is that even possible?
Yeah.
That is really shocking to hear you say that out loud. Wow, a lot of life has happened in 30 years. And I feel so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on here. I love that it's so close to this anniversary and to bring back the heart and the essence of something that I really, at the moment, I was a little kid, so I didn't understand the magnitude of what I was stepping into and then what it would become, and just the love and all of the things that were birthed from that original moment of being in Stargate, right? Not for myself personally, but
Yeah.
Stargate itself.
What has it been like? You know what? I'm going to set that aside for a moment here. Let me back up. I'm really curious to know, as I ask all the child actors who I'm privileged to talk with, was it Mom, Dad, I want to be an actor, or was it Kelly, you're going to be an actor?
It wasn't quite either of those. But I will share that I started working before I could speak. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And, my mom actually, both my parents moved from places away from California. My dad was from Tulsa, Oklahoma. My mom was from a small town in Washington. And they both moved to Hollywood. And, I got to give it to them because a lot of people move to Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And it goes a lot of different ways. And sometimes it just is likely to go one way. And my mom moved to California at 19 years old. And when she moved to Hollywood, she just thought, when I get to Hollywood, I'm gonna be famous. Like that's just how it goes. And so she came, and that's not exactly the chain of events and how it went. And she was so incredible. I mean, she was like the commercial queen of the 80s. This woman had network commercials running, sometimes 5 to 7 at a time, and really holding that place of being the main earner for our family. I mean, she's an extraordinary, extraordinary woman. And my father was more of like the film, James Dean kind of cowboy Marlon Brando vibe. Him and his brother Jesse Vint were in Macon County Line, and this film broke box office records. So it was a big deal, and they were both set on this trajectory to just have
Wow.
this incredibly epic film career. And it didn't quite go that way. And my dad was, God bless him, he's like my soul hero. I love him so much. He's not with us in the physical realm, but he's like
Yeah.
my spirit animal and warrior, and powerful, powerful, powerful human being. And also had a bit of difficulty getting along with other human beings. So um, he stopped working, I think shortly after I was born, and she really kept her career going. So it was kind of this like mom and baby, right? We were together, and then my career took on a life of its own. And so I started in the world of commercials and was really working a lot as a kid, and then it picked up into TV and film, and so that was the path forward in that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Stargate comes along. Alexis Cruz has said uh, that Dean Devlin really didn't want him to see how enormous this thing was in the audition process. He was like, well, obviously it's a movie and everything, but like the the toys, the comics, everything that was being built behind the scenes along with it. He kept all of that isolated from Alexis during his audition. What kind of a process was this for you? Was this, hey, it's Monday, we audition, this is what we do, this is the next film? Was this something particular that you guys sought out? What was the process that led you to this film?
Yeah. For me, they did a great job in holding what I feel looking back as you're saying that. It seems like they really did a great job overall to hold that sort of containment or protection around the bigness of it. I did not have a sense of going in, oh my gosh, this is like a really big deal. It was an audition that I was going on, and I was going on a lot of auditions at the times,
Yeah.
and I was going on auditions for, bigger films. So it wasn't something that struck me as, oh my gosh, like this thing. It was just another day, another audition, went to the callback, went to then the second callback, and that's where I met Roland Emmerich. And it wasn't different necessarily than other auditions, right? You have the casting director, you have the director now, there's some of the producers present, and that's normally the natural evolution of a process. You go in the first time, and maybe it's just the camera person and the casting director. And then the party grows a little bit, and then it grows again. And so it didn't strike me as anything that was out of the ordinary. And I will say that from the moment Roland and I met, there was just something where we just really loved each other. It was like it's hard to
I see
explain. Like a,
you.
yeah, yes, that. I see you. It was that. Exactly, David. Yes, thank you. You
Wow.
got it.
When you
Yeah.
connect with another human that you've just met on a creative level, uh, the alchemy is there, and it's just here we go. Now
Oh
what,
my,
Coach?
yes. Oh, I love that you just used this word alchemy. That's really extraordinary. That's it.
So you
Yeah.
meet in the audition. The second
Hmm.
audition goes well.
Yeah,
Was
I
it?
met him in the third
Oh,
one. So it was the second callback. So I went to the audition, then I went to the callback, and then it was the second callback, I believe. Now, granted, this is 30 years ago, so don't hold me to this.
okay.
I remember it going. But I do remember the moment I met him. And it was a moment where the crowd in just the room was bigger, and there was just something that was really, really beautiful between us.
Wow.
And then I found out shortly after that that I had booked the film, and I still didn't get it. I really did not understand. I don't think I really understood until we got to Yuma, Arizona, and they like carved out Arizona to be Egypt. And then the thousands of extras that were there. Really, I think that's the moment. And even still, I'm an 11-year-old girl. So there's a certain perception and understanding I have of everything at that time. But there was something where I really got, oh, wow, this is actually a much bigger deal than I had imagined or knew or felt or sensed. Yeah.
I imagine for us as the viewers, they're very good at using lenses to make everything look enormous. And when you have 1,000 extras on a set, that's enormous enough. But then, as an 11-year-old girl, everything is bigger than you.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
must have been like they put some money into this one, baby. Jeez.
You can feel that for sure. And the costumes and the intricacy, because to have that many costumes for all of these extras that were so detailed, and
It's a period piece. This scene.
it really is. Yes. And literally looking at the mountains, and they've carved the mountains to look like pyramids. I mean, now we just do everything CGI. This, they actually created a real set in the earth, in the three-dimensional reality, to look like Egypt. It was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that
I
one
mean,
day? Was that a week? How long did that pass for you?
I believe I was there for a week.
Okay.
That's yeah. Hmm.
Man. No dialogue.
No dialogue.
Yeah.
No dialogue. And that was something that Roland made. That was his feedback or response to me was actually makes me want to cry. He really got that I could say everything without saying a word. And he made a comment about like it's in my eyes, right? And that was the essence of that moment, right? It's this tiny moment in this film. And it's a moment that is really important that there's an understanding of that felt sense of what's happening. And it had to happen with no words.
Well, we're with you as an audience, you know. We're in your experience in this scene, discovering this world.
Yeah.
When they brought out that gate, as an audience, it's like, oh man, this A, the enormity of it, but B, the enormity of the reality that you guys are creating
Yeah.
and the adventure that we're all about to go on. What was that like?
Oh my gosh, that thing was so big. And it took multiple people. I mean, when you're watching that moment in the film and it's taking all those people to lift that it really took all those people to lift that. It was so humongous. And there was just something about being opposite this portal, right? I mean, it's like a real portal. That's how it feels. Like, yeah, it's a movie. Yeah, and like this thing feels like a real portal into other dimensional realities. I mean, that is really how it felt. And to be totally honest with you, in the moment, I didn't necessarily have a lot of connection to these beliefs around portals and all that stuff. But as time has gone on, I'm like, yeah, this is something I actually really believe is true and possible. And to go back and actually have had an experience of being in the physical presence of that kind of moment and that kind of experience where it's not just an idea. I'm in a physical reality, right? Where this thing is here. Oh my gosh, it was so incredible. It really
The
was.
It's not just a typical set. You know, you're not by today's standards operating with a green screen and just a handful of actors. Other people are going to be inserted. You know, you're in a landscape that is consumed has consumed your experience,
Yes.
and you're just here amongst all of it. I can't imagine what that must have been like for an 11-year-old, and to continue to carry that memory uh,
Yeah.
into the future, where you know an entire franchise has been created based on that scene alone.
Right.
That's pretty magical to have been there on day one, as it were.
I have chills again, and I want to cry. It is that magical. I mean, I just look back and think, wow, right? You had no idea. You had no idea with your mind what that was going to be, but there was something of spirit, of soul that just also for my own self and my relationship to Egypt and all these things, just holy moly, it is nothing short of magic. That's right. That's
Wow.
exactly right. And thank you for saying that because you're right. The landscape of that today, there is not really that kind of opportunity to go into a set in a way and actually feel like you're in the real experience of the thing because it's green screened and because it's just completely different. So to have had the opportunity to do that in the time that I got to do it, because that's how it was done, and the budget was what it was, and the film was what it was, I feel so blessed. I mean, I just feel so fortunate that I got to be in that moment.
Has Stargate influenced you in any respect over the course of your career and your life? Or was
Yeah.
it one of those that's like, I'm going to sit down and have this interview and recall these memories of this event that was very fun for a slice of moment in time of my life?
Oh no, it was not that at all. And I didn't understand the personal significance to what that moment was going to represent for me until way later. And here is what is just so incredibly synchronistic and beautiful and magical is 25 years later,
Yeah.
right? This was they just did the latest iteration of Stargate and asked me to come back.
Origins.
Yes. And so they said, come back and we want you to do a cameo. This would be so amazing, right? And it was almost this reenactment of the original moment that I had where I'm wearing the same gloves and I'm opposite the now Catherine, but my hand picks up the necklace, right? And
Yeah.
this is just so bizarre. So this
Right.
was like, this all happens. And then I called my friend and I said, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. So crazy. 25 years later, they call, I go back, I do this scene again, the Eye of Horus, the necklace, all the things. And she says, oh my God, Kelly, I am taking a trip to Egypt in October, the end of October. So it's right around the anniversary again. And I have 8 people that I wrote down on my list that I feel are supposed to come, and your name is at the top of the list.
Did you go?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did.
For the 25th anniversary, you went to Giza.
I did. And here's what's even
Ah.
more crazy, David, is you reach out to me at the 30-year anniversary to do this interview, and I'm headed to Egypt again, November 5th.
I have been. It is. I had no words. It was magic.
It's and I've organized the whole trip. I'm going and taking a group, right? And I've done this since when I went the first time. So the relationship I have to Egypt, you're saying you've been there. It's so
It's
powerful.
overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. And it was so weird going there the first time. I felt like when my feet hit the ground, I was home.
Yeah.
It was so familiar. So my relationship to Egypt, and I don't know what you believe or whatever anybody
Tell me,
believes of
tell me a little bit, if you were willing, about how you feel.
oh, totally. I mean, I am somebody that believes that we come back many
Okay.
times. And I know that I've spent a lot of time there. And I know that it was not my first time going. It was my first time going as this version of me. But I have such a deep, profound relationship with Egypt from very, very, very long ago. The temples, the priestesses, like all the things, the rose lineage, like there's such a deep relationship that I have with Egypt. And so I've gone back several times. And we'll keep going. I mean, it's like this is now I have somebody there that helps me
Oh,
organize these incredible.
wonderful.
Yeah. And we get to do private visits to these temples where it's closed and nobody's there. And so the power and the magnitude of what happens there. So when I look back at that moment and I'm going, oh my gosh, I really didn't know. But it was a signpost and a remembrance for me of something that I would go back to as like, oh, you have to remember this piece. This is so important that at 25-year anniversary, we're going to come back and bring it in again. And then 30 years, we're going to bring it in again. And just the essence of what Stargate is and the impact that it's had and the ripple that it's had and the way in which it's touched so many people and the magic and the heart of it, just to be an instrument that had even the tiniest sliver of a moment of participating in that ripple. It's like the deepest honor in the whole entire world. So it's been beautiful to watch that. And then also just to see in my own personal path what that has meant. Yeah.
The the heroes' journeys that are underway in this film. You've got several. You've got obviously Jack. You've got, or well, obviously Daniel. You have Jack's arc. You have Skara and Share's arc. You also have Catherine's arc as well. You know, this film is connected very much to that that concept of the circle, of
Yes.
the journey of an individual leaving their world, being transformed, and coming home and being different as a result. Uh,
Yep.
it's a beautiful movie, even though at the end of the day, it's an action film. There's so
Right.
much going on in it.
Yeah. And that's my favorite story of all possible stories is the hero's journey. Right. And so thank you for bringing that into this conversation and really highlighting all of the ways in which that story was told through this film. If there's anything to me worthwhile in this human experience, it's that journey of alchemy. Right? It's like sometimes I say this place is like the ultimate treasure hunt or a game of hide and seek. It's like we come in, right? And we go through this thing where we sort of get hypnotized away from our essence. And then we have an opportunity, usually through something, right, in life that is so heart-wrenchingly painful and excruciating that somehow through that fire and that alchemy, it's that process of the phoenix that rises. And that story is told so many times throughout that film. And it's the story that I stand for in people's lives. And it's like that is another place where the connection from my heart to the heart of that film and what it really stands for. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for saying that.
Absolutely, and I want to get a little bit more into Origins, if I may.
Wow.
I thought it was a stroke of genius for them to have you back at the end of the film, to button up kind of the live action lineage of what has all come before. There are people who are like, well, it's not canon. I'm like, look at Stargate Continuum, look at all the elements that they pulled from, look at the DHD, everything else. It's canon. There's a Nazi story in the Stargate timeline, and we saw it. What was it like having that experience to come back and do just that single scene, and to hold that medallion again? You talked a little bit about it, but what was it like to get that call? It's like, what, you went back?
I mean, it was, and even that, because I had met the direct, I mean, just again, when we look at the orchestration of life, right? The amount of
Right.
mathematics that go into every single moment. It's just for everything to happen in the order that it happens and this conversation to happen and then this thing to happen because we had met in this like doing a very short film and I don't know if we thought we'd ever see each other
Oh,
again,
you
but
and
then
Mercedes met before.
yes,
Oh, I didn't
exactly.
know that.
And then,
Wow.
and I had not been acting for most of my life. I really stepped out at
Yeah.
about 7, and I was clear that I was not ever going back.
Oh.
And then I went back for just this very short period of time. And one of the things I happened to do was this short film that she was directing. So we met, and then she calls me and she says, I can't really say that much right now, but I really can't wait to talk to you. And I just thought, oh, I have no idea what she's talking about.
Thanks so
And
much. Yeah.
great, yeah, great. I can't wait to hear what you're up to. I mean, just like no awareness. So when she called me and asked me to come for that,
Wow. How
I
can you say no?
no, I mean, there's no way I was going to say no. Of course I was going. And I just thought it was so cool that they were bringing that piece back in. And then to go meet the Catherine, right, who's like the now, I mean, just it was so incredible. And they had this big Stargate. I mean, it was just so surreal to go back and especially surreal to wear that glove and pick up that necklace one more time. I mean, I felt really, really grateful to be invited into that space, and we had such a great time. Everybody on that set was amazing. I mean, there's sets you go on, and you can kind of feel the tension of the space, and everyone there just felt like they were so joyful
Mm-hmm.
in what they were creating. Like there was a heart in each person that
Mm-hmm.
was in honoring of what this was and the way they were all working together, the way we all worked together. It was beautiful. It was one of the best sets I've ever been on.
You can feel when you're working with NPCs. It's like, okay, they're just here to do the gig, you know?
Oh my God. That's what my kids say these days. They're like, oh, don't be an NPC, mom.
It's true. Uh, I want to clarify something just for the listeners. They weren't the gloves; they were replicas, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know where those gloves are. And I wanted to actually ask you, is that the real actual necklace or is that a replica?
This is a replica. These are the ones put out by HollywoodCollectibles.com.
I,
So
I when you picked up the box, you said this is a collectible, and then I thought, oh my God, is the one in the back the real one? I
I
don't
don't
know
have that kind of money.
where is it even? Like
I'm sure it's either in MGM's archive. They retained most of the bigger stuff though, but I suspect it's on the open market somewhere, or not on the open market, but in private collectors' hands somewhere. So
that's amazing. Is this Ryan's company, Hollywood Collectibles?
no, it is not. Ryan Stitch Nixon does put out. I think he's had a similar one in the past. I'm not sure if he's still selling them, but yeah, this is definitely a separate. This is officially licensed. So
Okay. I actually bought these for everybody who went on. When I did the women's trip to Egypt, I got it as a gift for all of the women who,
ah
yeah, yeah,
I bet there's some good photos in there.
there really were.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, I have a couple of fan questions for you if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Marcia Middleton. Kelly, what was it like to see the completed movie in a theater? Were you there for the premiere? Did you go on your own with family? What was that story?
Yeah, that was probably the final moment of really understanding the totality of what this film really was. It's like in pieces, right? It's like in little tiny sips. I could feel the magnitude of it. But when you're sitting, and I was 12 when it came out, so it was 94. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
12. And being at the premiere, and I was with my dad, and I think with my mom as well. She'll kill me if I don't remember that, but I mean, also just overwhelming, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is what I was participating in.
Yeah.
Are you serious? And then the questions and answers, but to see it on the big screen and to feel the audience, like to feel the energy in the room, that was incredible. And that was a moment where it was like locked in again of, oh my God, this is a really big deal. And again, still not understanding and having the awareness that 30 years later, that people would still be, doing interviews and creating shows and all of these things. I mean, no idea. But it was incredible. It was a really beautiful experience.
Did you ever see the shows? Is there was there any interest in going and watching them? I'm curious.
So I did not actually see a lot of the shows. I did see Origins when
Right.
that was out. But I did not see, there was a time where when I stepped out of acting, I sort of stepped out of all of it for quite a period of time and remove myself from just about everything. And that was a lot of like the time where the shows were coming out. And then I didn't actually go back to them. So no, there's a lot of them I didn't see.
Was it uh were you wanting a different chapter for your life? Was it not what you thought it would be? The acting grind, the audition grind.
Hmm.
Or
There were
was there more
so
to it that you just don't want to get into?
Yeah, there were so many life factors all happening at the same time,
Okay.
right? And there was a place in me where I wanted to be done with this. And
Okay.
then there was a place in me that was really navigating some deep family
Okay.
situations and dynamics. And there was a period of just going into, in all honesty, it's like the dark night of the soul in the hero's journey. And in the moment, I didn't understand where it would lead me. And there was a lot of moments of it feeling really scary and unpromising.
Okay.
And then to come out on the other side, so at this point I look and I'm like, wow, just
Yeah.
every single piece was vital to the journey. And in the moment, um, that's not as easy to see, right? So it wasn't just one thing, it was many things coming into collision and in the perfection of what the hero's journey needed to be.
But right now, you're where you need to be.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I am so grateful for
Ah, good.
the journey exactly the way that it went. Because I think it could be easy to go, oh my gosh, right, 17 years old. I had it all laid out for me. I mean, I had set myself up, my mom had set me up, life had set me up to walk this path just right onto the red carpet and keep going. I mean, I had appointments and one-on-one conversations with some of the most incredible directors. I mean, that wanted to just meet with me. There was this moment of, wow, really? Like that's the moment that you just decided to walk away and yes. And so the deeper part of my knowing is that that was not the path that I was really meant to take. And while in the burning it all down on some level, it was messy and all of those things. By the time I was 26, it was like coming out of that dark night of the soul. And then from 26 to now, I'm 42 years old, which is so crazy. But that journey and that path would have never happened if all of these things hadn't gone exactly the way that they
Okay.
went. And, just who I get to be for myself, for my children, for my community, for the people that I'm in service to. All parts of the journey were necessary for that. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And that's really the truth.
Have they seen you in the film?
So they have seen it. And what's so interesting is my husband and I both had a child coming into our marriage, right? So he had a daughter and I had a son, and they're 3 days apart. So we call them.
Wow. The
And
twins.
and when you look at the picture of me, if you just even go on Google, but if you see it in the film, everyone is struck by how much it looks like our daughter, which is not the daughter that I gave birth to, but it's almost this spitting image of her face, particularly with the hat and the hair and just that moment. So they have all gotten such a kick out of that and just really enjoyed seeing these things because they look at me and I'm a mom, but then they go back and see me in a film like that, or they've watched Thunder Alley, the series that I
Yeah.
was in, and they just go, "Wow, that's mom! Oh my gosh!" Yeah, they think it's really cool.
There is something about the connections that we make and the people who come into our lives. I have a family member who looks just like his grandfather by marriage and not by birth, just like him, and it's like it's weird. It's really weird, you know.
Yeah, a lot of really weird, cool stuff around here. The more I've opened my eyes and my heart, the more I see.
I don't know if you know, but Catherine's story continued in SG1 a little bit.
Mm.
Elizabeth Hoffman, who we lost last year, she was in her mid 90s. She did an extraordinary job picking up Vivica Linford's character and bringing it into the show. And the character died in season 8 to service a story, and so she continued to have a very wonderful arc in the show. I don't know if you knew that.
I think I'm going to have to go back and watch it now that you're saying that.
It's good.
Yeah, and I feel that this is the right moment for me to really actually probably understand, right, the arch of that or the arc of that story. So thank you so much.
Let me recommend a specific episode to you. I'm getting
Okay.
chills just as I think about it because it was the episode that hooked me. It's the 6th or 7th episode in season 1, and it's Catherine's actually return since the film. It's called The Torment of Tantalus. And we find out that around the time that they continued to do research on the gate once it returned to the United States, that Catherine fell in love with a man named Ernest Littlefield. And they actually managed to activate the Stargate and send him through, and he got lost. And they realize now that the gate has been unboxed that they can actually return to that address. And so they reach out to Catherine and say, he's out there. He could still be alive. Do you want to go? And that's the story of the Torment of Tantalus. And it's a huge Daniel arc, and it sets up the pillars of the show that carry the characters through the rest of the series. So Torment of Tantalus, it's everything. It's the mythology of the show continued, and what establishes really the rest of the show as a franchise. So, and Catherine's a big portion of that.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for telling me that. And thank you. Your chills.
The character she is the matriarch of the Stargate program, and you were there from the beginning. And I can't tell you how much it means to me, because I've been trying to get a number of the cast. I'm privileged to know Alexis and Eric, but you were the one that I wanted to interview before any of the others. You know, screw the others. If they don't want to come on, that's fine. That's fine. But this movie was, you opened this franchise, and you have given me such a gift to come on and share your story about what this enormous thing has meant to you. So thank you for helping us celebrate 30 years of a magical journey.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I didn't expect to feel so emotional in this interview, but it's moving my heart so deeply. And I feel really, really, really grateful. And just the way that you're even describing this and reflecting this, and your love for the essence of this movement, really, because that's what it is.
It's a huge
And
living fandom. And the show's been off the air for how many years? And we're not going to let it die. It ain't going nowhere. So,
I love it, David. Oh my
uh,
gosh.
Lockwatcher wanted to know, at this point in your, I mean, you've got family, you've got kids, you know. There's no telling when Amazon's going to turn to MGM and say, okay, proceed with another. We know that they want to do something. We don't know when it is. They've just announced something for RoboCop, so Stargate is not far beyond the horizon. Were you invited back in some way, shape, or form? Would
Mm.
you consider accepting?
Yes,
Yeah.
I would. And it's probably the only invitation I would say yes to to going back into that world, to be really honest, because of the significance of that heartbeat and the story that's told. Yeah, yeah, I would. I would really trust that invitation, and I would say yes.
Wow. Well, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that occurred. We're always watching here on Dial the Gate and a couple of other websites, the ground for the vibrations of this thing turning back on, because when it spins, it gets going. And I think it's just a matter of time. It's like Star Trek. It's like Star Wars. Um, it has something that can never, that at its core is, I think, the the exploration of the human spirit, which is really what's happening. We're not really going anywhere that we've never really been. You know, when we leave, we find a piece of ourselves, and we come back and are changed as a result. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you got to be a part of, and I really thank you again for coming on board and sharing your story.
Yeah.
So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. May we all have the courage to meet life one moment, one breath at a time, and especially those moments where we're invited into this portal of alchemy and transformation. And honestly, right, like that place that feels like death because it is, but when
Yeah.
we feel like and it's only just the beginning again. And so having that courage to face these moments of our life and the hero's journey and the heartbeat of that and the spirit of that and all the support that we have, right, in this dimension and all dimensions, seen and unseen, but just like the courage and the fire of standing in the essence of what this film really is, which is the hero's journey. And it's the story of alchemy, and it's the story of transformation, and it's the story of remembrance of the truth of who we are and standing in that place. So thank you so much for like really holding that because I feel you holding that in your heart as you walk in service to this film.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I love the that it's a story of forgiveness and a story of redemption. I don't think that we do much of that anymore. I don't think that we extend grace very much to others. And I think it's important to remember that, yeah, we're all on this journey together. We may not be going through here, but we are traveling through life, and we don't do it alone. And I think that that's a big portion of what Daniel reminds Jack of in the film. It's like, your people don't want to die. Don't go down this path of darkness. A horrible thing happened to you. Horrible things now and then will happen to all of us. But we're not here to burn out when those things happen. We're here to suffer for a time and rise again. So, yeah, Stargate's awesome. Stargate's,
Amen.
I think.
Amen, David.
So, Kelly,
Woo!
thank you. Thank you for
Wow.
coming and helping us celebrate the 30th anniversary of this wonderful thing that you guys created.
Thank you so much. Many more years to come. May that quaking, right, that you're feeling and sensing be
Make it
birthing.
spin.
And really, this part, what you're saying, we the forgiveness and the remembrance that we're in it together. These are some wild times right now. And there's so much that we could easily be polarized by, right? And if we take out the things that would create so much distance and separation and forgetting of that place that, no, we're actually really in this together.
And we have more in common than we think.
We have more in common than we think.
Yeah.
And if we go to that heart of the human experience, like the deepest place of vulnerability, we can see honestly that we're all hoping for and longing for really the same things. We just think the path to getting them is different, and that's where we get stuck. And so it's like in the dissolution of these places, may we remember really the truth of our togetherness. And like you said, together we rise. Thank you,
Absolutely.
David.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm going to wrap up the show on this, and I appreciate having you.
All right, me too.
Kelly Vint, everyone, young Catherine Langford in the Stargate feature film. Wow. I have no words. I wasn't honestly sure if I was going to get anyone from the feature to celebrate this coming week. There's still some opportunity, but you know what? We are thankful for everyone who wants to take part in celebrating this thing, and this was a real joy. If you enjoy Stargate and you want to see more content like this on YouTube, please click the like button. It does make a difference for the show and will help us to grow our audience. Please also consider sharing this video with a Stargate friend, and if you want to get notified about future episodes, click subscribe. And giving the bell icon a click will notify you the moment a new video drops, and you'll get my notifications of any last-minute guest changes, which occasionally happen. And clips from this live stream will be released over the course of the next few weeks on the Dial the Gate and gateworld.net YouTube channels. We have quite a week coming for you. This coming Tuesday, we are going to be having the 25th anniversary of gateworld.net. We're going to have Darren on to celebrate live at 10 a.m. Pacific time, live Tuesday, October the 22nd. The following weekend, we're going to have another interview with Colin Cunningham. He's going to be catching up with us, as well as Stargate feature film trivia hosted by Tom Macbeth, Harry Mayborn himself. That's what's heading your way. My name is David Reed. I appreciate you tuning in to Dial the Gate. Thanks so much to my moderating team, Tracy, Anthony, Jeremy, Marcia, Summer, Frederick Marcoux at Concepts Web. I couldn't do the show without you guys. I appreciate you all for your hard work, and I'll see you on the other side.